Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Udit Dikshit, and I welcome you all to Live Blitz Chess Tournament 2020, presented by IEI CSE Student Chapter, the North Cap University. This is our third and final day. We started with 22 participants, and now we are down to 8 participants fighting for one title, that is the champion of Live Blitz Chess Tournament. So our first quarterfinals will be between Dheeraj Kaushik and Harmeet Thukran. Let's move on to their gameplay without wasting any more time. But for more such exciting events by IEI, go into the description. You will find our Instagram link there. Follow our Instagram channel. We will soon be coming up with more exciting events. So we have started with our first quarterfinal match. We have Harmeet Thukran with black pieces and Dheeraj Kaushik with white pieces. Harmeet and Dheeraj both are some of the toughest competitor in the game, and I am afraid that only one has to go further on from this point. So the game started with Sicilian defense, e4, c5, knight to c3, pawn to g6, followed by g3 by white, followed by bishop to g7 by black, which was followed by bishop to g2 for white, knight to c6, and both the players have castled on the king side. White's dark squared bishop is into the game. On the ninth move, there was a pawn development h3 by white, followed by black bishop moving to b7. So white moved a d4 pawn, followed by pawn at c5 taking over d4, which was followed by white knight taking over the black pawn at d4. And in response to the knight at d4, black has moved its pawn to d5. And here the black has lost both of its knight in the game. And the same situation goes for white. White has lost both of its knight, followed by white dark squared bishop entering into the black king's area, and the black king has taken over the bishop. So right now the black is one bishop up. It was, and right now the white is leading in number of pieces, and I think this can change. And as I felt, white has lost its light squared bishop at d5, and the queen has given a check to the black king standing at d4. Both of them on the move number 19 has brought their rooks into the game. The white rook is standing in the D line while the black rook is standing in the E line. I think white is preparing to double up its rooks so that he can prepare a better attack. Both of them right now are left with 6 pawns and 2 rooks. And black has brought its second rook into the game, which is in the D line at D8. Followed by white rook moving up at c7. And the white rook has taken over the pawn at a7, followed by black rook taking over the pawn at c2. Guys, keep on liking the stream, keep on subscribing to our channel, and thank you all who have viewed these matches. White has moved a pawn to b4. And the black rook has taken over the pawn at a2, also pinning the white rook, which is at a7 currently. And the a7 rook has taken over the white rook at a2, followed by the black rook taking over a2. White has moved its other rook to c1, while black has the rook at a2. Both the players have 4 pawns and 1 rook on the board. Right now they both have equal probabilities of winning. Now the white king at f1 is threatening the black rook, which is at e2. In defense, the black rook has moved to e4, which is right now pinning the pawn which was at b4, followed by white rook giving a check to the black king in at c6. In defense, the black rook has moved upward on the board, upward direction on the board, which is at e6 right now, followed by white rook which has moved to c8. The black rook has moved to e4. We have gone down to 30 complete moves. And the white rook has again given a check to the black king, which was defended by the which was defended by the black rook at e6. White rook has repeated its move, moving to c8, followed by black rook moving to e5. Okay, so now Dheeraj is running low on time, which is the white pieces. So white has developed a pawn at h4. Right now they both have a majority and a minority cluster of pawns. Black pawn has been moved to h5, which means it is trying to stop the movement of white pawns which are in this line right now to f3. Black king has been moved to f5. White rook has been moved to c7, followed by a pawn moving to f6 for black. And the king has moved one square up for white, that is at f2. I think they both are low on tactics right now. And the white king has been moved to e3. And the white pawn has got a chance to move to g5 by taking over the pawn which was moved to g5 in the earlier move, followed by the black pawn moving to g5 and taken over the pawn which took the black pawn. So right now the white rook has got a chance to enter into the king's pawn area. Black rook has moved down to d1 and the white rook has taken over a pawn at h5, while the black king was giving a pin to white rook. So the black rook was trying to take over the pawn which was at b4. However, white rook gave a check to the black king which was at f5, which was at g6. In defense, the king moved to f6. And there is again a check at g8 by the rook. I guess they are the repeated moves. In case of 3 repeated moves, the game goes to a draw. And has moved its pawn to f4. So I'm quite glad that this didn't happen. There was a chance that match could have been moved down to a draw. And the black rook has given a check to the white king at b3. So Dheeraj is right now running low on pawns. And the black pawn has taken over the pawn at f4, followed by the white rook coming down to f4, taking over the black pawn. The black rook has been slow on time as compared to Dheeraj. I'm afraid right now I think the white has to lose a pawn or the rook, and he managed to take both of them. Harmeet is moving towards the black pieces given by the white pieces to the black, and black has taken over another white's pawn. Still white is one pawn up. Both of them are right now equal on time. This happened due to the increment system, which is 5 seconds per move. White was moving towards the black's line to, I think, make a pawn. Black has placed its king there to defend the line. So g6 followed by black rook moving to f4. Guys, keep liking the stream, keep sharing it with your friends, and subscribe to the channel. For more such event, go down into the description. You will find our Instagram channel link. Follow our Instagram channel. We are soon coming up with more exciting events. So the black rook is right now aiming to take over the last pawn of white, and it has taken over it, followed by white king, and both of them had ended into draw because only the kings were left. I am afraid we gonna have to make a rematch here. Started for our first quarterfinal. So the last match was ended up into a draw. It was really tough. The game has started again with Harmeet Thukran with white pieces this time and Dheeraj Kaushik with the black pieces. The game started with c4, knight to c6, followed by d4, e5 by black. And black has given the first check to the white king at b4 by bishop, which is dark squared bishop, followed by white bringing it dark squared bishop into the game for defense, and the black bishop has taken over the white bishop at d2, and the white queen has taken over the black bishop which was at d2. So that was a bishop exchange. So the light squared bishop for white has came into the game at d3, and black has castled. The other knight of white has also been bring to the king's defense at e2. The white pawn has taken the trade at c6. In response, the black pawn has taken over it from b7 to c6. White has developed a line of pawns at A, B, C. The black queen is coming into the game at C7, followed by a pawn moving to A5 for white. So we have moved down to 19 moves which while the 19th move is still incomplete. Again, Harmeet Thukran is with white pieces and Dheeraj Kaushik is with black pieces. Right now, Dheeraj is running low on time as compared to Harmeet. They both have lost 1 pawn and bishop. The pawn at d5, white pawn at d5 has taken over, followed by the black pawn taking over d5. And the white light squared bishop is targeting the black rook, which is at e8. Black pawn has taken over the c4 pawn for white. And the black queen has an open road in the D line to enter the white's area, which is still protected by two rooks and two knights. If you look at it very carefully, it is actually a bait, as the white knight sitting over c3 will attack whichever piece of black comes in here. I think white was offering a trade, also attacking the queen at d8. And the queen has taken over the pawn at e5. If you look at the bar in the left side of the board, it is quite constant. It has not moved much, which shows that both of the players are really tough and they are not very easy to break. White queen has been developed to h4. Black was giving a bait to the white pieces by moving its knight to in the d line to d5, which was followed by queen moving to d4. And the black knight moved down to the e line, targeting the white bishop sorry, white rook, and right now the black knight is in danger as the queen is pinning it. So the black knight has moved to E, which is a protected line by the black rook, and that was another draw by agreement. I think we need to have a rematch. So the rematch, after a rematch, has begun between Dheeraj Kaushik and Harmeet Thukran. Harmeet Thukran is with white pieces and Dheeraj Kaushik is with black pieces. So the game started with English opening c4, e5, knight to c3, followed by knight to c6, and a white knight to f3 and a black knight to f6, followed by d3 pawn development, d5 pawn development for black, and a pawn taking over d5, followed by a knight taking over d5, followed by a bishop at g5 and f6 pawn development, followed by bishop to d2, followed by a bishop to e6 for black. On the 8th move, we have white moving to e3. So a pawn took over d4, followed by a knight taking over white knight taking over d4, followed by the black knight taking over d4, and a pawn taking over d4 for white. And there happened a castle, long castle for black. White is preparing for a short castle at the king side. A black pawn has moved to h5. So as per the rules, this is a 3 minute plus 2 second increment match. We have to deprive down as we are running low on time. And the white knight has taken over d5, followed by bishop taking over the white knight at d5. Both black and white have lost 2 knights and 2 pawns each. The black's dark squared bishop has come out of its position at d6. And the black light squared bishop has taken over white light squared bishop, followed by the rook taking over the bishop at c4. So the black rook tried to came into the game at the open line in E, which was defended by the white dark squared bishop, moving down to E3. And queen has taken over a pawn at H5, targeting the E line rook for black. And the black rook is giving a bait to white queen. So in defense, white queen has to move to f3. It can't take over the black rook. So the rook took over the pawn at h4, followed by queen moving to, followed by the pawn moving to g3. Black queen is right now pinning the dark squared bishop for white. The game has moved to 24 moves, and right now Harmeet Thukran is running low on time as compared to Dheeraj Kaushik. It's Dheeraj to move, and he has taken over the pawn at g3, followed by bishop moving to f4 for white. The rook of black has gone back to g8. White rook has closed the open line for E. And Harmeet Thukran won by abandonment. We are going to move for our next quarterfinals match with So the match has begun for Gaurav Rajain and Ishwar Manral. Ishwar Manral is with white pieces, Gaurav Rajain is with black pieces. The first moves were e4 followed by e5, moving queen to h5 for white. Guys, keep liking the stream, keep following it. We are soon going to get our winner for this tournament. This is a 5 minute plus 5 second increment match. The black bishop has came into attack at b4, followed by white light squared bishop coming into attack at c4. So black pawn has been developed to d5, attacking the white light squared pawn, and it has an open, the queen of black has an open attack on the white bishop. But it is also protected by the pawn at e4. I think Gaurav Rajain is thinking a move to move here. If Gaurav Rajain would have developed his knight at c6, f6, it would have easily got the bishop, light squared bishop, which has taken the center, and the white queen has taken over e5 pawn for black, giving a check to the black king. Black has many two defenses right now. He can either move his actually three defenses right now. He can either move his light squared bishop to e6 or the black knight at e7 or the queen at e7. And in defense he has moved his king to d7, which has endangered his pawns and knight. White queen has taken over black h8 rook. So Ishwar is not only leading over time but also leading over number of pieces. And if you see the bar of which shows the probability or analysis of winning, so he is leading over here too. He is dominating right now. Seven moves have been completed. King has moved to c7 for black. Ishwar Manral has put his queen into a vulnerable position at c3, which is also defended by two pawns. One is at two pawns and a knight. And Gaurav Rajain took over the queen at c3, followed by knight moving to white knight moving to c3, taking over the black bishop. And the white bishop, light squared bishop, has right now developed to f7, threatening a pawn, but it is also protected by another pawn, which is at h7. So the black queen has, followed by white pawn moving to d3 in defense. So the white has majority pawn chain. The white bishop at followed by king moving to b6 in defense, followed by bishop to e3, which was taken over the black queen, and Gaurav Rajain lost his black queen at fe3 by the pawn moving from f to e3 down to c5. And Ishwar Manral has gone for a long castle. Gaurav Rajain is running low on pieces, and the white rook has came into the game, taking over the pawn at f6. Taking over the knight at f6. So the king has moved to a7. So the white pawn is giving a is actually threatening the black light squared bishop, and in response, I don't know why Gaurav Rajain moved his rook in the f line. Actually, he's targeting to targeting the white bishop, which is defended by the white rook, and the white rook took over the black rook. So Gaurav Rajain here lost his both bishops. Gaurav Rajain is right now left with his one knight and four pawns, while Ishwar Manral has two rooks, two knights, and eight pawns. Ishwar Manral is winning over time and also in number of pieces. I guess that's a game over for. That could have been a game over for Gaurav Rajain. And the white knight has given a check to the king at c8, and in defense the knight has been moved to b8 for black, followed by a checkmate given by Ishwar Manral at b7. So Ishwar Manral has moved to our semi-finals. Let's see who has the next. Our third quarter final has begun, which is between Nikhil Kathuria and Ishant Yadav. The first move was e4 followed by e5. That was a king's pawn opening, and knight to f3 for white, followed by queen to f6 for black, knight to c3, and c6 pawn development. Another pawn has been developed to d4, which was taken over by the black pawn at d4. And the white light dark white bishop has been moved to g5. And the black queen has been moved to d6. And the white knight got a chance to took over the pawn, which was at d4. The white queen has taken over the square at e5. It is a very strong position to hold. The white queen is moved to d2, defending the bishop, which is at g5. And the black light dark squared bishop has come into the game at b4. This is move number total 7 moves have been completed yet, and Nikhil is leading the board with time. Both have lost just one pawn each. And the white dark squared bishop is pinning black queen, which is at e5. The white dark squared bishop is right now at f4. It is protected by the white queen, which is at d2. So black took some time to think and has moved its queen to the outer line, that is a5. So the white knight has been moved to f5. Ishant Yadav is with white pieces, Nikhil Kathuria is with black pieces. The black bishop took over the white knight at c3, and the white pawn took over the black bishop. If you look at the bar that is on the left side of the board, it shows that white is currently dominating. So the black pawn has been moved to d5 from d7. And the white knight has given a check to the black's king, which is at e8. It seems like black is going to lose a light squared bishop, because he has to defend his king right now in this position, and he did it. And the white knight took over the bishop, light squared bishop of black. So Nikhil has lost a pawn and a knight. Black rook is right now attacking the white knight. Then another check to the black king, bishop at d6. In defense, the king has been moved to e8. And that's another check given by the white knight at d6, and the black king has moved to d8 in defense. And another check, it was repeated check given by white knight at f7, followed by king moving to c8. I think white knight has a chance to moving to g5, 8. However, white denied that, followed by another check given by the white queen, moving to g5. The black knight has for quite most of the time in the game, white has been dominating the board. But black is winning over time, losing over tactics and number of pieces. Seconds followed by it 25 seconds increment. In defense, the king has been moved to b6. Once more a check given by the black king and losing the queen by the knight moving to f6. So the queen moved to f6 to give a check to the black king, followed by king. In defense, the white king moved to e4. The game has tremendously turned to the other side. Now black is dominating the board, followed by queen giving another check. Queen taking over the pawn at e5. Initially white was dominating the board, but somehow the game has totally changed, and white king, which was defended by the rook move. I think the game was going fine, and suddenly it is one check after another, and that is another check given by the black rook to the white king at e5. And that's the queen moving to e3, giving another check to the white king. And the black has taken over another piece, another pawn of white, giving another check, taking over rook which was at h1. So white never opened that rook, and white is finished with all its pieces. It is left with 4 pawns. In just few seconds, the game has totally changed. Right now, black is leading this board. And that was another check. So the king moved to f7 in defense. White king has been moved to f7 in defense, followed by queen moving to c7, giving a check, followed by king moving to f6, followed by rook moving to d6 for the black. And the king is right now in a line. So the knight has given another check to the white king at g6, taking over all the pawns, giving another check to the white king. Queen has been moved to h7, which is defending the knight at h4. Black landed another check, followed by another check by the queen. And that's a game over. That was a checkmate, brilliantly done by Nikhil Kathuria. Nikhil Kathuria won the quarter-final 3. Moving down, Ishant Yadav. Let's see what is the next match. Next is quarterfinals 4 between Arpil Sharma and Anmol Dang. Stay tuned. Just begun between Anmol Dang and Arpil Sharma. Which was starting from d4, d5, followed g3 pawn development, e5 pawn development, and e5 pawn was taken, followed by queen taking. and knight has moved to f3, defending the e5 square. And white has just castled. Black has moved a pawn to h4. Again moving to h3. And in response, it was which was white light squared bishop has moved to h1. Them till now has lost 1 pawn each, and now 2 pawn e7, followed by white queen moving to g4, taking over the pawn at g4. And there was a pawn development to the white light squared bishop, giving a check to the black king. So right now white has only one option, and that was the best move to be played in this situation, moving down to b7, threatening the rook at a8 for black. White queen is quite playing well right now. And the white queen took over c6, giving a check to king and taking the pawn, which was at c6. King moved in defense to f8. Knight has covered a large area on the board. White has covered. So right now the rook from a8 has been moved to c8, and that's a check given to the black king by the white knight at d7. And in defense, the king was moved to e8, followed by knight moving to b6, followed by rook moving to c6, taking over the white's queen, followed by the white bishop, light squared bishop, taking over the rook. And that's another check on the black king by the white knight at d7, king moving to e8 in defense. Once more it is a check, f8, followed by I think white lost its knight at g8. So the white knight and white other knight has been moved to b3, followed by b4, movement of knight of black. I think losing a knight at g7 was g8 was a blunder for white. And the white bishop has gone to h1 to pin down the rook at a1, which was defended by moving to b1, followed by a pawn development at a4 for black. And there moved the knight to d2. Initially white was dominating. Right now black is dominating. If you look at the left side of the board, there is a bar which shows which color is dominating, so which player is dominating in the game. So white has lost 3 pawns, 1 knight and 1 queen. Actually queen is only 1 in the game. While black has lost 4 pawns, 1 bishop, 1 knight white. White has commendably defended its pieces very well in the game. And the white knight took over the black knight at d4, followed by a knight, which was a knight trade, followed by queen moving to d2, d4, followed by the white rook moving to d2. The black queen left the d line and has moved to c5. White has to take this bishop, which is lying at g3, and white gave a check to the black king at d8 by its rook. In defense, the black king has been moved to h7. And the white bishop has given a check. And in defense, a pawn has came into the game at g6, followed by black bishop taken over by the white pawn at g3, and that's a check. That's a check to the white king by a pawn. And the white king in defense has moved to h1. Black queen took over the pawn at f2. It seems like the game is moving towards its end. And that's a check given by the white by a undefended bishop at g6. I don't know what is the plan for white, because the black king can take over, the black has a king and a pawn to take over the white bishop, and it took over it by the pawn, which has also opened the line 7. And here the white rook gave a check to the black king at d7. This is quarter final number 4. We will be moving on to our semi-finals very soon as this game ends. The white rook gave another check at d8, followed by king moving to g7 in defense. And that's another check given by the white second rook moving to d7. Rook to the black king. And the black king took over the white rook. So the rook was taken over at d7 and the queen was taken over at h2. The next move was rook to h2. Rook moved to h2 to take over a pawn, followed by rook to c5 in defense, and then white rook moved to h7 to give a check. And in defense, the king has been moved to e6. The black rook, which is lying at c5, and in defense, the rook has been moved to d5. And that's a check for the white. The black rook has given a check to the white king, followed by white king moving in defense. And here the white lost a pawn at a2. Four. Black is left with one pawn and a rook, while white is left with a pawn and a bishop. Black has got all its pieces straight. White rook is, I think, preparing for another check. And right now the white dark squared bishop is in danger. And that's a check given by the white rook lying at g8. Up in the game. And that makes it, oh, it is still 2 pawns up. No, it is even right now. If you count the number of pieces gone for both, they are even.